Hey, this is the Antisocial Socialite back at it again. Shout out to all of the wonderful new subscribers and returning friends. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are new to the channel, you have not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for, darling? Hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell. So when I get to run this live, baby, you are in the loop. You see the title, you know what time it is. I came across this little story, and this is not a new thing. This is not a new concept, but I thought let's just have a quick 30-minute chop up about it, because at the end of the day, we are living in strange times. For those who are into the scriptures, you know this is the end times, kind of anything goes. And this famous Kazakhstani bodybuilder decides that he is finally ready to tie the knot with his sex doll. And we know that Kevin Samuels is somebody who speaks a lot about this idea of the doggy moms and people who are engaging in relationships with their dogs and substituting human interaction with other alternatives. Now, a lot of people have obviously made the cat lady the butt of many jokes. You know, the sad lady who has the cats and nobody around her, and the whole "you're gonna die and be eaten by cats" type of thing. You know, a lot of people have made jokes about that, and also called men who have these dolls weird and creepy and, you know, all kind of names. Okay, understandable, but I wouldn't call a man who's got a sex doll necessarily weird. I remember when I first heard about it, I found it quite disturbing and strange. But the more I listen to brothers, I realize that they're just speaking from a place of hurt. they're speaking from a place of hurt. Now, to be honest with you, the vast majority of people that I saw with these dolls were not black men. And I think that in the culture that we live in, a lot of black men would rather just leave. They would either rather go abroad or be single and celibate than to really bother with a doll, especially because, you know, black men probably, with all due respect, would know where to find a hookup if they really needed to. So I feel like it's more of a psychological thing why people decide to get, or let me stick with men, why men decide to get these dolls. And I'm specifically thinking more of non-black men. So for those who haven't seen the video, this is just a quick one from, oh, I think it's, I don't know if I can play this, fair use, from, where are you? Tabs like crazy. New York Post. So let's have a quick look what they have to say. I hope everybody can see. Very short video. Okay, so that's the story that's trending. After this guy was going to get married after, or he proposed, I believe it was, to his sex doll after 8 months, they finally got married, looks like a few days ago. So shout out to Cola Dave. He says, sex doll, it's a good guess that all their arguments usually end with her giving him the silent treatment. This is a serious matter. But what was really interesting about this situation, a lot of people know that there was a really famous YouTuber actually who really brought the concept of men having sex dolls to the forefront of the conversation. Because hi. So as I was saying before, StreamYard unceremoniously dropped me off my own live. Um, there was a really famous YouTuber who really made the concept of men trading in women for dolls a popular thing. And the argument really was this. First and foremostly, women would be nervous about the idea of men getting dolls. And the reason being is because they would be replaced sexually. The funny thing is this, when we look at sexual aids, which a doll is, in part, when a woman has sexual aids, and I don't support the use of those things, right? The only aspect she takes is the man's private area. But what you're going to see with these dolls is more and more people. I'm just really using this guy's case as a springboard, actually, because the video that I want to more focus on, if I can get this thing to cooperate with me, please, is something that is set in Japan, but I think could be coming to an area near you. It's already here in the West. A lot of people like to say that guys who get dolls and things like that, they're just weird, they're just creepy, they're just horrible. But the reality is this: silently, a greater number of women are actually getting into these dolls. And I don't know why you keep telling me that it's inappropriate. Just play it. Oh my gosh, never work with animals, children, or StreamYard. Ay, caramba, please. Okay, let's go for this one. don't know why you're doing this. Okay, maybe it's copyright. Maybe it's meant to be. Let's go through. Yeah, I know it might be inappropriate for some users. Proceed anyway. You played it for me earlier. You see, this is what it's like having an argument with a sex doll. It doesn't answer you back, it just looks at you. I think it's not going to allow me because I want to screen share it. Because I played this video earlier. Oh, that's a shame. Okay, let's see if I can do it this way around. No, it's not going to play it. It's not going to play it. Oh, that's a shame. That is a shame. Let's see if I can get this one to play. Okay. I don't fancy this commercial because I swear to God this is a mixed race woman. It's like single mom and she looks like she's mixed race. So again, it's perpetuating that black single mother. Okay, so this is a young lady who has a channel based around her doll. One of these baby dolls. And I remember about a year ago, I got on the bus with this lady. The way she had this baby in her arms, and it looked a bit like too still and small for the little bit of clothes that were on the baby. I was so mad to ask her, is that a real child? I swear it moved, but nowadays these dolls are getting more and more lifelike. Now, one thing I will say about this looks like a very young lady. I don't know how young she is actually. It's better that she's got a doll baby than a real human being. So let's call it what it is. Now, what the disappointing thing about the fact that this video wouldn't play is the fact that in the video that I wanted to show, you actually saw in Asia women who were getting female dolls, not for sexual purposes, but merely for company. They were working hard. They were outnumbered considerably by men, actually, because in some of these Asian countries they prefer sons over daughters, so there's a girl shortage. Yet for some reason this woman couldn't find a mate. She said, I don't have siblings, I'm an only child, and as a result I get lonely to the point where I decided to get a doll. And we're living in some strange times where people wanted to remove the old landmarks of things like family, tradition, and patriarchy. And what that has done is completely destabilized relationships. That's why the question I put in the banner was, are heterosexual relationships dead? Partly because at the end of the day, do we actually have the skills or the ability to engage people of the opposite sex and raise children in a healthy way? There have always been people who use sexual aids and replacements for human interactions. Okay, as we know, we've had the doggy mum business, we've had this. God forbid, no dogs, no dogs. And what was sad about the video is a lot of people always assume that the doll is just for sexual purposes. But there are a number of reasons and emotional reasons why people get these dolls. And the thing about it is this, for the man, what I found quite disturbing actually, the guy, the professional wrestler, is the way he projected his love and mentality onto the doll. The doll apparently has a sassy attitude, she swears, she likes a particular type of food, she has low self-esteem, and so the doll that's already made of silicone, he got it plastic surgery. And the question has to become, how much of our love and interaction is really genuinely about the person loving us, and how much of it is what we tell ourselves this person. This is why these people are able to have such intimate relationships with these inanimate objects, because no matter what you think, that's what a doll is. A doll is literally silicone. It's a metal frame. I hear it's heavy as hell because of the way it is. Obviously, it can't move yet, but there are dolls that have sensors in them. They'll be able to engage you. They'll have AI in them. They speak up to a certain point with like phrases. And it's quite frightening to see the way the world is progressing where it comes onto human interaction. You would have thought where people are liberal, they would actually be happy that they can be free to explore. But actually, as time has gone on, people have become so disconnected from what is normal that they are turning to inanimate objects and basically isolating themselves. It's I wonder if I can trick it into playing. He said, "No, I know what you're doing. Do it, please." No, it's not gonna. It's not having any of it because it says it's appropriate. Let me see. Come on, you can do this. This is the video I wanted to play, but it says no. Let's try a different one. You can do it. Oh my God, sorry. This video may contain images that are not appropriate for young users. Wait, let me stop screen sharing because I've got dolls here doing rude things. Come on. I can't find any because they're so sexual. They're so sexual. And a lot of them, here we go. Let's see if this one will play. I don't know what she's going to say. Fair use, fair use. A lot of the time you have women online, you're a beta male, you're a this, you're a that. But there's actually a growing number of women who secretly have male dolls the way men have female dolls. I don't know if you guys can hear this. Obviously, I was really flattered to have the opportunity to be on the BBC because my mission in life is to raise orgasmic awareness, and that's a great platform to do it. But I was thinking this is a bit weird because I'm not desperate to be famous, and it made me think about the program Word from the 90s, the Channel 4 programs in the UK. And there was a part of this. So, what do you guys think? And let me see if I can plug in some external speakers and get a bit of volume here.
Snorkeling cows urine. I don't know, it's really, really silly or extreme things. And I was thinking, it reminded me of that. I mean, having sex with a male sex doll, it seemed very freaky. And even though I've tried lots and lots of different types of sex toys, I didn't see it as a sex toy. I almost considered it more to be a human replacement. And that's what made it really, really freaky for me. In the past, I have watched documentaries about sex dolls. I find the subject really, really fascinating. But when I think of sex dolls, then I usually think of a hypersexual female sex doll, usually with massive breasts and a tiny waist, almost like Barbie, but a lot bigger, of course. It's not something that I think women are ever going to consume anytime soon. And that was my role in the documentary to give a female perspective on this. In terms of sex toys, I think women's sex toys and men's sex toys are going in very, very different directions. Well, if we look at sex dolls, for example, I think people are trying to go for the more and more hyper real or fantasy woman. And the most important thing about a sex doll is it's really a visual thing. Whereas for women using sex toys, we like sophisticated shapes and luxurious objects that do not look like a veiny phallus at all. And also, when we use a sex toy, even though we want it to look nice, during the act, we're not looking at our toys lustfully and thinking, wow, it's such a nice
Right, can everyone hear me? had a Michael Shea, is it Shea or Chi, had a good bit on this topic. Basically, I've had to just go onto the mobile phone because the StreamYard on the computer is playing games with my life. And so Mr. formerly known as Cola Dave said it sounds scary and depressing. This is really what I wanted to talk about. Do people actually have the social skills necessary anymore to be able to have healthy functioning relationships, or are we just too far gone? That's really all I wanted to know. Because am I the is it yes we're too far gone, or yes you can hear me? It's like both. We're too far gone, we're too far gone. Just let it burn. Because with the guy who's the wrestler, I do believe that he is actually ill. The way that he projects his own probably insecurities onto the doll is an issue. Now, there are other arguments in favor of getting dolls. There are some people who have bad intentions, like they have tendencies that are dangerous. And it would be better if they played out those tendencies on a doll, in theory. The problem becomes if they actually get a doll and they haven't been able to exercise those tendencies, will this drive them? Yeah, we go. Oh my god. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Why are you doing this? Right, hopefully that is not going to give you that horrible sound anymore because I've dropped off on the phone. Oh dear. I promise to God I haven't got a doll here. I'm just I'm here by myself with no doll. So the guy was projecting onto the doll his own insecurities. The low self-esteem, the body augmentation, blah 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 blah. Those were his insecurities. Now when it comes on to the people who have bad tendencies, this was where the area of concern came in that some of the dolls look very young. And the question is it appropriate for somebody who has certain tendencies to get a doll that looks very young? Because as say you wanted to see what it was like to go down that dark path, the question becomes, would that then encourage you to engage in that behavior? So it's very complicated, the psychology of people who deal with these objects. Obviously some people are lonely and we're accustomed to people occupying themselves with hobbies. They're All right, guys, I'm really sorry. I don't even know what happened here, but that's what it is, okay? No, DJ Naf, go away. It says no, it still gives them that thrill. They need to know it's wrong. I think it will only serve to amp them up. We don't need that. And so it becomes a question of, can you justify such a thing, knowing that people can be so lonely? You see? Ah, ha, 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 ha. I found a way to get around you. I don't know why. It's like, no, I know what you're trying to do. Do it, do it. I don't know why this video is refusing to play, because it played earlier.
I think people who use a sex doll, they're looking at it and treating it as if it's a replacement for a human. So going back to my experience, when I got over the freakiness of it, I started to think, wow, this is really cool, because as a professional sex toy tester, there is a lot of talk about dolls and robots now, and I really want to be able to try something like this. Given that a sex doll costs maybe between 2,000 and 5,000 euros approximately.
No, there are some that are really lifelike that will cost you around 13K. The ones that are a bit more advanced, especially the male dolls, the ones I saw were 13,000.
So I started to feel very fortunate to have this opportunity. I saw pictures of the doll online before I unboxed it. Well, it had a name actually. It was called Steven, which was very weird, because some of my sex toys have human names, but not really. They usually have, I don't know, maybe different names. But this seemed like it was giving it a personality right from the beginning. And as soon as I saw it, I thought, this is definitely not for a woman. This definitely has a male customer in mind, because you could penetrate the mouth, the anus.
What?
And I was very curious about the phallus, because I couldn't actually see that online. So I saved it until the unboxing.
This is ridiculous.
In a big cardboard box, and it looked like a coffin, really. It was very, very, very freaky.
This woman is really disingenuous, okay? Most male dolls are probably bought by women, okay? Let's stop pretending like it's actually women, men, sorry, buying these dolls. It's not. But the thing about it is this: women obviously feel a lot more shame having to admit that they couldn't settle down with a man or whatever, and they ended up getting a doll. Okay, that's what it is. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can trick him. Yay! Here we go. Okay. And what was really sad about this is, when we talk about social skills, we're talking, I'm looking at a GIF of a woman grinding on a line. Where? Where are you grinding? Hey man, how you doing? Okay. A lot of people always like to shame men, but the reality of the situation is this. In places where you have poor social skills, even women are turning to these things.
Well, the husband entertains Saori. His wife has come to clean for him.
So this man has a wife, but he has a daughter.
But like, this is not just, of course it's affected by society a lot. Men in Japan are a big pressure. Like, if they don't make enough money, then like women don't want to be with them. My interest, finding out that Japanese people having trouble connecting to other people and then not being able to communicate. ちょっとこれから、オフィスに行くんですけれども、これからちょっとオフィスに行ってこういうことをしますっていうのを、仕事、今日仕事をする設定で。
なんだろう、カメラ目線とかじゃないですか。
So this is a guy who makes the dolls, and he is not making dolls. Well, he makes dolls probably for men, but today
we're meeting a doll salesman. Mr. Tanaka sells them online. Demand is very high at the moment. Only last week, they were completely sold out.
多いです。質感はどうなのかとか、あとはまあ詳細部分ですね、をいろいろ聞かれることが多く、まあそれに対して、まあ何回かやり取りをして、で、そこから注文に至るお客様もいますし、男という性に、まあ私は接しましたね。でもやっぱり、だから、かみさん、彼女、奥さんとのセックスってなると、やっぱり、
there can be some problems. Of course, you have to make an effort. With a doll, none of that matters. I wonder if that's his hair. Is that his hair?
Mr. Tanaka has a showroom right next door.
So this is a guy who has
サイズが155センチです。
Okay.
42万円です。はい。で、サイズ36万。それも、期間は特には言えないんですが、例えば、スマートフォンに例えますと、1日メールを30件打つ方が1年使うのと、
This one was kind of sad, you know, because in a country where you have a shortage of women, the men were actually turning to dolls for companionship. And again, it was not about the sex, it was about the company. Come on, struggle Wi-Fi. You can do it.
In the next 30 years, Japan's population may decrease by a third. Mass production and marketing of a new generation of sex toys have heralded a new era of relationships between dolls and people.
So this is the woman.
This is Mayumi, our Japanese production assistant here in Tokyo. She's 34 and single.
Danger zone!
Mayumi's invited us to visit her home.
But this house, maybe just a couple of years. It's nothing. I think I don't have anything really. No, yeah, this is only one stuff that I might have. Future. Yeah, being alone and then not having family. I'm only one child, no sister, no brothers, no relatives. So after my parents die, I'm gonna be alone. So I feel detached. But like this is not just. Of course, it's affected by society a lot.
Not yours, DJ. Not yours.
Men in Japan are a big pressure. Like if they don't.
Okay, we heard that one already. So this one was the saddest one for me. This guy, when he should have his...
It's almost stopped raining, and Mr. Nakajima is taking his sweetheart to a nearby karaoke bar.
So yeah, agreed. When you have these kind of dolls, you are now no longer it's no longer necessary to cultivate certain skills, because once you get fed up with it, you can just throw it in the corner. And then I don't even know where to go with this conversation, because to be honest with you, I know this is the times that we live in. And the question is, what can we do? What should we say? We know people have the right to live and let live. If this is what they want to do, that's their right. But is this a healthy way to progress society? Obviously not. But with the current climate, with men and women the way they are, is this the inevitable future for many people, either dysfunction or loneliness? Because as you can see, the stereotypical image of the person with the doll was always the creepy, over sexualized guy, as the woman was saying. But there's an increasing number of women who are actually buying male dolls for companionship, rather than actually um, learning the skills necessary to be in a healthy, functioning relationship with another person. The lady in the video that I was trying to show, she was like, well, seeing as he can't talk, he's kind of at my mercy. And she kind of liked the fact that she had control. And it's like, it's a scary thought that this is what is coming down the pike. And the fact that this made mainstream news, that a man who you think would be considered alpha, he's tough, he's strong, actually has decided to marry a doll, is as weird as years ago women marrying themselves or dogs. And it's like, what's happening to humanity? A lot of people think that feminism was just about empowering women and giving them the vote. But this is the steady decline that has occurred as a result of people coming out of their proper order. This is a byproduct of women deciding they don't want to adhere to their traditional roles. Because one of the things that would have happened was women would have educated each other how to be wives and mothers. They would have raised their sons to be masculine. They would have raised their daughters to be helpmeets. But in addition to all of that, they would have said to those young daughters, get married. But now with things like in Asia, you know, they prefer sons over daughters, so there's a female shortage. Here we have the women in the physical sense, but we don't have them in the mental or the cooperative sense. Yes, physically we have a lot of women, but we don't have women who are able to actually function as wives and mothers. And so one of the points I did respect about guys was the fact that women before, when they used to buy these aids, they only zoned in on one part. And what it actually showed was men do want deep and meaningful relationships. The fact that these men don't just purchase the genitalia, but actually an entire doll. They want interactions with women, and that a lot of them are yearning for relationships with women. The problem is this: it comes with too much baggage that makes it not worth it. This is why, guys, I don't necessarily support. Okay, let me pick my words carefully. I do believe that you can project feelings onto an inanimate object. We have people who talk to plants, where we have people who are mummies and daddies for dogs and cats and pets. So there definitely is the capacity, when you want to project feelings onto a doll or something. And I don't think there's a huge problem with that in the short term. But if this becomes the culture, we are going to have real problems, not just from the plummeting birth rate, but also all of the other things, like as Mr. was saying, if you become selfish and you see people as nothing but objects, when you do interact with them in the real world, it's going to be quite scary. The where we are at now, in my opinion, we've opened a Pandora's box that is just becoming way too degenerate. Okay, and it's just weird. If you want a baby, the chick with the little the forever doll, I can't remember what you call it now. It's not forever doll. The baby that looks so real.
Screw the head on.
A lot of us need to screw our heads on to be, it's called reborn baby, okay? This woman takes the doll shopping, she buys clothes, dummies, bottles. I mean, every accessory you could think of for a real doll. And I'm just like, why don't you just take that energy and get married? That's what your drive was there for. Your drive was actually to force you to do what you had to do to get into a committed relationship with a man. And now all these substitutes and doorways have been opened. A lot of people are checking out, and that is going to create a lot of problems. I mean, I don't know what you guys think. It says, I hope not, I pray not. I'm not even a conspiracy theorist. However, it seems like a slick way of population control. The thing about it is this. I mean, I believe in population control, and sometimes I wonder why would you bother unless you're trying to rebuild the human race a certain way? Because having a lot of people but getting rid of the middle class actually makes more sense. If you have elites and you have the upper echelons, a handful of people controlling the masses who you basically have as slaves, then that actually makes more sense because you can use them to be productive like a real life matrix. After all the natural resources run out, you can just use human energy in some way or form. But the reality of the situation is the world is actually quite underpopulated. There aren't that many people here. It just feels like it because we live clustered in cities and towns. Once you get to the suburbs, you notice how it becomes really sparse and empty. Like you have you have to walk for half an hour before you get to your nearest neighbor kind of thing, or your nearest town is like a train ride away. So if we're talking about controlling humanity, population control probably would be important because you'd have too many people who would resist. But if you're talking about enslaving humanity, I suppose the more the merrier. I don't know. Because the reality is this, we're not dying of a shortage of food. More people on earth are dying as a result of obesity, not starvation. We can churn out food. We know how to make, you know, not processed food. I'm not going to say processed food, but we know how to use agriculture in an efficient way, even in a tight space. There isn't a shortage of food on this planet. There aren't really a shortage of resources. It's just greed. Greed is the problem, not really resources. But from a Christian perspective and from a conspiracy theorist perspective, we are talking about perverting the natural order, because pansexuality, from the word pan or the god Pan, the goat god Pan, where we get Peter Pan. I've done a video on this already where you're talking about a god who would lure boys into the woods to have sex with them. He used music and everything to do this. Pansexuality is all encompassing, whether it's at objects, animals, adults, men, women, or children. When someone says they're a pansexual, they will often sell it to you as, I am just interested in the person's spirit. No, pansexuality means whatever turns me on, I want to be intimate with it. And so this culture of inanimate object worship and interacting with loving yourself, marrying your pets, marrying yourself, or having all these dolls, from a Christian perspective, from a spiritual perspective, is ushering people into this age of occultism. Okay, so I just, for those who believe or those who are thinking, is there more to this? Because you got to ask yourself, if you are bothered about population control, why would you promote something that actually causes people to become disconnected further from each other? As you said, like, pornography is a way out. I want a sexual release. I don't want the hassle of the dating and the commitment. Let me just stimulate myself with something visually and then I can move on. So, been seeing a lot of that on Tinder. What did you see? Was it people role playing with, there's always been plenty, man is just greedy? Yeah, exactly. We have more knowledge now than ever before. This is why, things like obesity and all these issues that we talk about, even the environment, I don't believe in it, because at the end of the day, we have had the technology for more than 30 years to make the planet green. We have known for decades what is actually causing this planet to be unhealthy. Okay, and a lot of it is natural. It's just the cycles of the earth. It's nothing to do with human activity. And when it comes onto what we can control, they have known for decades what foods are killing us, how the fluorine in the water is making us dumb, how they're, putting other chemicals in there that are poisoning us slowly, the chemicals in our food. They know what they are doing to us systematically. I mean, I was listening to a live stream recently and a brother was saying he had COVID and he lived near a 5G tower, and that tower was exacerbating his symptoms. Are we saying 5G radiation causes COVID or makes you have COVID? No, but it can cause you to have headaches, even just having other devices around you. The radiation from your TV and your computer can depress your mood. This is why they want people to be hooked on technology. I don't know, this is not where the conversation was, but seeing as we're here, they have done studies and shown that depression increased once people started getting more technology in their home, because we are electromagnetic beings. So we are influenced by radiation of the technology around us. Again, if you're suppressing people's mood, could this be why a lot of Black people have issues, because we're plugged into tech all the time? I don't know. Why do you say pansexuals? That's what it is. People who, and I'm not going to demonize somebody who wants to have a doll as a bad person. I wouldn't necessarily say they were all ill. Some of them are. Some of them have low, maybe pick my words carefully, maybe they have low self-esteem, or they have some kind of social interaction problem that makes it very hard. Maybe they have some type of autism. So connecting in with people on a face-to-face level is a challenge for them. And so for them to get that companionship and that sense of human interaction, they would be better with a doll. They give dolls sometimes to people with certain types of dementia. But once we get into this tech and low frequency vibrations, but once we start getting into this realm of normalizing this as an alternative, the question has to be asked, are we actually going to end up just wiping out the human race because people will be too unskilled to have relationships with each other? So that's all I've got for this one. Let me know what you think in the comment section. What I'll do is the videos that I wanted to show, I'll put them in the comment section below. They are X-rated, not because you have scenes of sexual acts per se, but because the dolls are so lifelike, they are not obviously appropriate for viewing with young people. So let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.